Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Grange Reserved this evening. We've got an exciting clash between Kingston and Dandenong Thunder on this beautiful Monday evening. Alongside me, I have Demir Kulash. How are you, Demir?
Pretty good, Dean. Thank you for having me. Obviously, an exciting game in prospect as we await for a minute's silence here.
So this evening's game, Dandenong Thunder coming off a 4-0 loss at home last week, conceding 3 goals in 20 minutes. Obviously, something Veton would want to improve this evening. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, definitely. They were at 6s and 7s at the back last week, the Dandenong Thunder, and after such a poor start, the only way is up, you'd imagine. And what better way to respond than with a local derby against Kingston City. These games generally are fiercely competitive. We, of course, know what happened in 2016 with that famous promotion race between the two that ended in the 95th minute over at Dunstan Reserve with Damien Iconis stealing promotion from Thunder's grasps.
So we'll quickly run through the lineups tonight. Starting 11 for Kingston is Nate Calavelleri in goals, Daniel Bennett, Faisal Sakazada, Simon Janovic, Ajan Feshizada, Keanu Moore, Chris Irwin, Ali Silmanovsky, Max Etheridge, Damien Iconis, Alex Canigula. Damien Iconis also making his 50th top flight cap. For Dandenong Thunder, Pierce Clark, Blake Carpenter, Jake Mulgrave, Mesum Mehmedi, Christian Cavallo, Alon Bolgard, Ioannis Georgopoulos, Kieran Dover, Omar Amachi, Brandon Bartons, and Peter Skapetis.
I do apologise if I do go all Lucy Zelich on you, Dean, with some of the pronunciations, but I guess that can only be a good thing. So the last meeting between these two teams at this stadium last season ended in actually a surprise Dandenong Thunder victory. It was a 1-0 win thanks to an own goal. It ended up being their first win of the season all the way in round 5 after quite a difficult start to the campaign, which included heavy defeat to South Melbourne at home, but they recovered and they were comfortably mid-table for much of the campaign largely thanks to the goals of Brandon Barnes. After a quiet week last week, what sort of impact do you think Brandon Barnes can have this week, Dean?
Yeah, look, I think everyone knows the quality Brandon Barnes brings to this league. Obviously, he had a slow start to last season, and then obviously scored a certain amount of goals in a quick succession. So he's always a danger. Kingston will obviously be aware of that. But obviously, Kingston's attack force with Damien Iconis, Chris Irwin, and Alex Canigula also providing a threat up front.
And the referee for tonight's game is Lazaros Pantelidis, who will be assisted by Andrew Memorakis and Ezekiel. Do apologise, we didn't have the last name there as the referee gets things underway.
Bennett's got to throw in.
See Daniel Bennett with the ball here, plays it up towards Max Etheridge, who is a new signing for Kingston City, returns after a spell in the state leagues with Mornington, and he wins a foul here after a challenge with Mercer Mehmedi. Dean, when it comes to duels, Brandon Barnes up against his former teammate Faisal Sakizada tonight, who do you expect to get the better out of that one?
I feel Faisal Sakizada Always strong. He knows his job, does his job very well, and I feel that he's got Brandon Barnes tonight.
As we have Kingston set piece taken in there by Daniel Bennett, who of course himself is a former Dandenong Thunder player. Canberra boy who moved to Victoria in 2016, and Dandenong Thunder was his first club of choice. Moved to Kingston the following season, had a bit of a tough start with a shoulder injury keeping him out for much of the campaign, but he returned well and he's one of their more consistent performers. I did forget to get your prediction for the game tonight. Final score?
Kingston 2-0.
But to say Kingston 2-1, I think the Thunder do have a goal in them, particularly with the likes of Barnes and Skapetis up front, who will no doubt be looking to get on the score sheet. As we see Jovanovic play the ball to Bennett, who goes long in search of Etheridge, but that ball goes harmlessly out for a throw-in. Quite a healthy crowd, as expected here at the Grange. First home game of the season. Bit of a local derby feel to it, with both sides situated quite close to one another. Let's see. Throw in from Christian Carvalho, who is celebrating his 50th NPL game tonight. Of course, Carvalho was on the books of both Melbourne City. Firstly, of course, with Melbourne Victory, but he did earn one A-League appearance for Melbourne City in the 2016-17 campaign. He'd no doubt be looking to Matt Miller as one player who has shown that even if you do get out of that A-League system, you can certainly get back up with consistent performances in the NPL. Isn't that right, Dean?
Yeah, I agree. Matt Miller has worked extremely hard at South Melbourne. Rightly so, deserved the spot at Central Coast, and he's thriving under Mike Mulvey.
Of course, we are live and interactive this evening on Facebook as Slip Up sees Damien Iconis pulled in. And Kingston won a free kick. Referee hasn't given it. Etheridge into the arms of Pierce Clark in goal, but there definitely looked to be hands on Damien Iconis as he unleashed and looked to go towards goal. It was sloppy at the back from Kingston. Might have been the new man, Jack Musgrave, in defence with the error. As they Thunder go in searching on the other end, but it'll go out for a goal kick. Dean, seemed to be plenty of tugging on Damien Iconis there. Your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, look, a poor mistake at the back by Dandenong Thunder. Iconis, for me, it was a certain free kick outside the box there. It was all over him. Did enough. Obviously, we'll give benefit of the doubt. Lazaridis might have been blindsided by a few players.
Yeah, well, advantage could have been pulled back there, and free kick could have been given as Kingston go in search of an attack with Caniglia, Iconis. Ball out here to Chris Irwin on the right. Back to Bennett. Searching ball goes into the back post, but it'll go out for a goal kick. Chris Irwin feels a bit like a new signing for Nick Tolios' men. Missed the majority of last campaign. I think he only ended up getting a handful of appearances, as too did Simo Jovanovic. So how key do you think those two players will be for Kingston City this year?
Yeah, great. Obviously, Simo is such a solid leader at the back, communication, and he has the desire to win. Chris Irwin, we all know the talent that he is, obviously at South Melbourne, but when he did play last year, he was always threatening, so I'm pretty sure he'll give Christian Cavallo a bit of headaches tonight as Dandenong Thunder attack.
See the ball finds its way here to Alon Blomgaard. Blomgaard v. Suleimani gets the better of him, and he wins the foul there. Now, as I did say, we are live and interactive tonight with the stream up on both Facebook and YouTube, so keep your comments coming. We've got one from Robert DeRosa who says, come on, Blake Carpenter, South Australian connection in full swing tonight as Carvalho looks to play the ball in. Oh, goal. Kingston, Dandenong Thunder have scored, and it's come off a Kingston man. Carvalho's delivery was inadvertently swiped into the back of his own net by a Kingston defender. We'll wait to see the replay to see who it was. It might have actually come off Sakizada against his former club, seemingly. I think the initial flick came off Jovanovic. I think it might have actually been Etheridge. So, correction there from Dean Manair. He reckons it was Max Etheridge with the final touch. Cavallo is claiming the credits, and Dandenong Thunder takes an early lead here.
Yeah, poor delivery I felt by Christian Cavallo, but always in a dangerous area. Max Etheridge was blindsided, but a bit of deja vu here again of last season. Kingston obviously conceding an own goal and ended up losing that game 1-0. So hopefully Kingston can turn the game around still early on.
That's right. Of course, that goal that they did concede last year was at least at a later stage of the game. So they've got plenty of more time to get themselves back into the contest. But if you're Nick Tolios, it's not the best starts to the game. And I'm sure he'll be asking a lot of questions of the referee to making inquiries as to whether Damien Iconis was fouled in the a few minutes beforehand as Chris Irwin goes on a searching run down the right. Thunder eventually managed to clear it. And we'll have Bennett take the throw here for Kingston. Ball finds his way up here to Simo Jovanovic. Bennett. And it's a good challenge there from Blake Carpenter as Kingston get another throw in. Of course, it's shocked a lot of the home crowd that opener Dandenong Thunder aren't too concerned. They're looking to come away here with another victory because it wasn't only last year that they took all 3 points, but they also won the contest when they played Kingston City in that 2016 promotion campaign here. It was a round 9 clash from memory, a late 2-1 win, come from behind. I think it might have been Brandon Barnes with the winner. But it wasn't to be for them at the end of the season because, of course, with 3 rounds to go, Kingston went to George Andrews Reserve and ended up beating Dandenong Thunder 4-3 as we see Mercer Mehmedi take a knock here. And for those of you watching at home and going through the comments, thank you to Chris Gleason for putting in the starting 11s in the comment sections. Free kick from Thunder amounts to nothing, ends up safely into the arms of Nate Cavalier, who didn't have much to do up until picking the ball out of his net. Be disappointed, but there wasn't much he could really do as Irwin has the ball here on the right. Plays it in. It's gone to Caniglia. Good touch, but it's been cleared away by Thunder. Irwin finds Bennett. Bennett back to Irwin, who goes to Ali Suleimani in midfield. Out wide to the left. Caniglia, but it's cleared by Thunder, and Sakizada has the ball. As we see Skapetis hot on his heels, and he's just gone a bit too late there, and Kingston City aren't too happy about that one. I think it's Aydin Fethagic who's having a bit of a word with Peter Skapetis. Fethagic is one of many Queenslanders to call NPL Victoria home. Got another one on the Thunder bench in Jake Cuscieri. Of course, a large interstate flavour to this game, as there is to many NPL games seen. We've also got Keanu Moore, who came out from Edgeworth in northern New South Wales, as we see Georgopoulos steaming ahead. But Irwin's won it back, and he's played through Ali Suleimani, a former Thunder junior. Back to Simo Jovanovic. Now Daniel Bennett tried to find Irwin, but the ball had gone out of play. Cavallo to Blumgard. And he plays the ball back to Musgrave. As we see, is that Omar March in an unfamiliar right-back role, Dean?
Yeah, Omar March, usually a right or left winger, is been pushed to right back. I think it gives Veton a little bit more attacking fullbacks. Obviously, Christian Cavallo loves to bomb forward as well, and that could obviously cause problems for Kingston. at the back with an overload in wide areas.
Yeah, and Amash coming back to Victorian football. He is in the starting 11 tonight as replacing Sevdim Ismaili, who, if I'm not corrected, was Funder's right back in round one. Amash is coming back from a spell overseas in Spain, as I was mentioning, with UCAM Murcia. So it'll be interesting to see how the former Avondale forward adapts to life at Dandenong Thunder in an unfamiliar role. Wanted to get your impressions last week of Kingston City, Dean. A 0-0 draw, not much to take out of it, but it was against Port Melbourne, who are a difficult team to break down, particularly when they do play at their home ground at Jailmouth.
Yeah, look, I think Kingston would have been disappointed. Look, I watched through some of the highlights, and they just didn't look their best. So I know Nick Tolios would have would have put them through their paces this week and demanded a better performance. Obviously, we're very lucky potentially to get away with the win, but obviously had some chances as well with Damien O'Conis inside the 18-yard box that bobbled over the bar. Early cross in the box for Kingston, well claimed.
Yeah, and of course, Kingston won't be too dissatisfied with the point. Of course, different story with Dandenong Thunder as Carpenter beats his markers and probably gets fouled. Advantage has been played, ball into Barnes, but just had a bit too much on it, and Cavalier safely gathers. Becky Poole asking in the comments section who scored. It was an own goal. We believe it was Max Etheridge of Kingston City who got the final touch, inadvertently struck it into the back of his own net.
Game has slightly opened up at the moment, a bit end-to-end action here. Ball out wide left. Canigula on the ball. Kianumu shoots. Rebounds to Canigula, who has a shot saved. Chris Irwin has just missed. Great block by Christian Cavallo. Fantastic opportunity there for Kingston to level.
Yeah, that shot by Chris Irwin was definitely goal-bound. Not sure if it had the necessary power to find its way to the back of the net, but Christian Cavallo was there to put an outstanding block in and divert the ball out wide for a throw-in. As it's taken, but Etheridge's touch is sloppy and the ball has gone out for a goal kick. Kingston's first, you could say, genuine opportunity on goal there with Caniglia, and then Irwin with the follow-up. Not to be, of course, as we already have mentioned on a couple of occasions already. I think Nick Tolios and his coaching staff were asking questions earlier on as to whether Damien Iconis was fouled as he was trying to get away one of his shots. But overall, Dandenong Thunder haven't been too bad so far. Made a strong start, and if you're Veton Korkadi, you've definitely made a good response considering the circumstances of this start last week. Bennett with the throwing back to Jovanovic, who back passes back to the goalkeeper Cavalier, who was a solid mid-season signing for Kingston City last year. Another one to come from interstate from northern New South Wales. Certainly adapted to life in the Victorian football quite well, and it was no surprise that Kingston wanted him back for this season. Dean, as a goalkeeper yourself, how do you rate Cavalier?
Yeah, look, fantastic signing for him. Obviously, the games he did play last year, he stood out as a fantastic goalkeeper, and no offence to Steve Hatzkortis, but Nate just secured the back four a little bit better when Nate was playing, unlike Steve.
Bit harsh there on Stephen Hatzkortis, but Kingston breakaway here, but its offside flag has been raised. Kurtis himself, a young shot stopper who, of course, came from a Melbourne Victory youth. So he's, got a few years to catch up on Cavalier. But overall, I think Kingston do have two goalkeepers that are challenging for that number one spot, and expect to see Cavalier kept on his toes throughout the course of the season. And I know that's something that Kingston goalkeeper coach Paul Harvey will definitely want to see. As we see Carpenter making a run into the box. Well defended by Suleimani and Bennett. Chris Irwin's kept it in here. Goes to the centre. Finds more. Back to Suleimani. Long field ball. Goes in search of Caniglia, who gets a touch on it. Plays the ball to Etheridge. But it's been cleared by Mehmedi there. And Etheridge has had quite a sloppy start to the game, don't you think, Dean?
Yeah, very sloppy start to the game. There's a close call there for a handball the Kingston players are appealing for. I just got to bring up, Kingston obviously have Moad Zwed on the bench. Do you think that will be a great impact and cause Dandenong Thunder problems if Nick Tolios brings him on later in the match?
Yeah, Zwed's quite a tricky customer, both on the football field and also on the E-League tour, of course. He is Melbourne Victory's representative in the E-League. But speaking to Coach Nick Tolios prior to the start of the season, he was rapt to have not only Zwed, but also the likes of Chris Irwin, Simo Jovanovic, Ryan Love, all back in the fold this year after missing considerable game time last year. He said they felt like new signings, and if you're Kingston, you'd be quite pleased. We do have a question in the comments coming through from Robert DeRosa again, who asks, who do you think is the best goalkeeper in the Victorian NPL? We'll put that one out to the audience as well. I know we've got a few goalkeepers here in the commentary booth, but overall, I would say Ryan Scott's probably up there. You've got a few of the experienced boys like Nikola Roganovic and Chris Solfield that are definitely solid. Chris Theodoridis has been one of the most improved goalkeepers in recent times and one of the most successful. But Dean, who would you say would go up there?
Yeah, I would have to definitely give Ryan Scott a plug there. I know he's watching on the live stream, so Scotty, thank you for joining us. But also, I think we'd have to look down to NPL too. You've also got some good goalkeepers like Fraser McLaren and Sermon Sadakovsky.
Of course, we do have one of the Langwarrin goalkeepers in the commentary booth alongside us tonight. Langy, 3-1 win on the weekend. I'm sure that would have pleased Scott Miller, but as we return attention back to the game, Kingston's trying to mount an attack, find it proving quite resolute in defence, and Georgopoulos, it looks to have gathered the ball there, and he's won the foul. And an early yellow card. I think that's gone to Ali Suleimani of Kingston City. As we see Thunder about to take the free kick, Omar Marsh. See. Ball still with Thunder here out on the right flank. Amash takes the throw in. One key inclusion for Dandenong Thunder tonight, of course, was Kieran Dover, who missed round one. Despite Gully's struggles last year, Kieran Dover ended up being one of their best performers, got to double figures for the first time in his NPL career, which would have been quite pleasing. Of course, Dover himself, a former teammate of Matt Miller, as Brandon Barnes shoots, and he's just wide by the Englishman. Hearts and mouths moments for the Kingston City supporters as Brandon Barnes got that looping ball over the top, lobbed it towards goal, and just wide of the left-hand side of the goalpost there. Don't want to give him too much space, too much time, too much room. Don't you think, Dean?
Yeah, great. A fantastic opportunity from Brandon Barnes, but he was complaining on being pulled back on the shirt there, so it did look like there was a bit of a pull on by Safa Sakazada. It could have potentially been a free kick, but Kingston get away with one there.
Definitely do. In terms of formations, what I'm seeing there is a bit of 4-3-3. Would you say the same thing? I think both teams have lined up in that manner. Obviously, a flat back four. When you look at Kingston City, they're looking at both Caniglia and also Chris Irwin, who's coming in from a right midfield position to provide a lot of width to the strikers in Etheridge and Iaconis, as we see Skapetis with the step overs here. Suleimani does well to put some pressure on him, and Bennett capitalizes on the misplaced possession. Irwin gets through the legs of Cavallo, and a heavy foul right in front of us here between Bennett and Mehmedi, and it's caused a bit of an altercation here between the two teams. Mehmedi, I think, went in a bit late. Bennett, his former teammate, a bit unhappy as to how that panned out, and right in front of the linesman here and in front of us in the commentary box. At worst, probably yellow. At best, a talking to. Your thoughts, Steve?
Yeah, look, I think it was a bit late, but deserves just a talking to. Early warning. It's still early on in the match. Just got a question for you, Demir. Obviously, Peter Skapetis, such pedigree he's come from. Obviously, part of Stokes under 21 squad for so long. Brisbane were on Central Coast Mariners first team player. He's been riddled with injuries. Do you think it was a good move for him to drop down to the NPL and play consistency and try to get back up into that league?
Look, I think when you look at the current A-League season, you've got a lot of the players that have either played in the NPL their whole careers, or come out of the A-League system, gone into the NPL, done the hard yards, and got themselves back up into the A-League and progressed and are now starring, not only from the Victorian contingent of Cam Sobar, Miller and Shepherd, but also guys like Dylan Wenzel, Halls, Jordan Murray and co. So, if you're Peter Skapetis and you're not getting an opportunity at an A-League level, then the NPL is the next best thing in terms of going down there, doing the hard yards, getting your confidence back up, getting the number of minutes under your name. Because as a young footballer, that's what you need. You need to be playing consistent football. And you look at us, when you talk about young strikers, you look at someone like Damien Iconis, plays 25 odd games a season and has, with each season, improved and become a better player. As we see Blumgard trying to find a teammate, has to play back to Musgrave, who does a 1-2 here. Skapetis at the centre circle, goes out wide to March, whose ball tries to find Dover, but Sakizada mops up, plays the crossfield ball to Irwin, well defended by Cavallo, who's had a good start to the game outside of his assist. Barnes tries to beat Jovanovic, but a teammate mops up for him. As we see Mehmeti do likewise, and Irwin's inadvertent touch takes the ball out for a Thunder throw-in. Obviously, this is the last game to round off round 2. A round that has seen a number of teams maintain their 100% records, whether it was on Friday night, the Bentley Greens, Melbourne Knights and Hume City, or on Saturday, Green Gully and Avondale. Certainly makes for some interesting storylines in the NPL across this weekend, Dean.
Yeah, great. And you would think Oakley, obviously, all these big signings in the summer, obviously with also Chris Taylor taking over, they haven't really early shot, and it's found the bottom corner. I think it was Kieran Dover who has drilled it low and hard, and he's beaten Nate Cavalieri to his bottom left.
Correction there, I think it was Alon Blomgard with the shot from range. He is a good shooter from long range, Blomgard, and he has found the back of the net for Dandenong Thunder. And what a start for Veton Kodkadi's men. Well, they say a week is a long time in football. It definitely has been the case if you're from Dandenong Thunder. At this time last week, they were staring down a 3-0 deficit at home against Hume City, a team that a lot of people weren't expecting to make much of an impact in the NPL this season. Well, they've come out to the Grange Reserve. They've taken their opportunities when it's counted, and they've certainly pounced to lead 2-0 halfway through the first half here. Blumgard is generally a good shooter from range.
Seymour and Brandon Barnes just tussling for the ball out, and it's gone out for a Kingston throw-in. Bennett will throw it down the line. Chris Owen flicks. Etheridge tries to lock it in, but Mercer Mehmeti wins the ball and concedes a throw-in. Bennett finds Iconis. Iconis tries to flick to find Irwin, and it's gone out for a throw-in, well defended by Christian Cavallo. Cavallo taking his time, using a bit of his experience just to wind down the clock a little bit. Still only 25 minutes in. Ali Sulovsky wins the ball early. Canigula Flicks it on. Kanu Moore has a bit of a run. Peter Scapetti doing the hard work with Omar Amachi. Kingston happy to keep the ball, and it's gone out for a throw-in. Obviously, AJ is playing out on the left as a left back, usually a centre half. How do you think he's performing?
Yeah, it's tough, particularly if he's not a natural left footer, which I don't think he is, Fetahagic. So he is a left footer actually, so I stand corrected there. But yeah, for a centre half to go into the left back position can be tricky, especially if you're up against a fast-paced winger / wide forward. And I think they've got Kieran Dover on him, who definitely can hurt you with his trickery and quality on the ball. But overall, so far, hasn't been too bad. I mean, you look at the two Dandenong Thunder goals, they have come in isolation. I mean, with the set piece, first one up, as we see, Etheridge, player 1-2 with Iconis. Kingston want to see more of that. And Georgopoulos commits the foul there. Did appear to get a bit of the ball, but I think he's caught Etheridge as well. And you'd imagine this is prime shooting territory for someone like an Alex Caniglia.
All right, Damien Iconis. But it looks like it's going to be Daniel Bennett who has stepped up to take the free kick.
Yeah, and we got Bennett. Wouldn't he just love a goal against his old club? One of a few players here for Kingston City with ties to Dandenong Thunder. Sakizada, another one, and so is Suleimani. So it's Bennett and Iconis. Bennett to take. And Clark gets a good touch to it, diverted away for a corner kick. Was pretty centrals, but keeper still needs to get that touch over. We've seen on many occasions over the years, whether it'll be in the NPL or at higher leagues, goalkeepers make a mess of that one. But Clark wasn't to be one of those. As Kingston take a quick corner, ball goes in, Clark punched it away, and Iconis has volleyed, ends up at the back of the car park.
I think it's actually in the rubbish tip. Fantastic opportunity there for Kingston. Good attacking play, and it's good to see that they haven't given up. They've gone 2-0 down, and they're still trying to hopefully divide the deficit by one before the half-time and regroup, and that'll allow Nick Tolios to make some changes.
Well, you obviously didn't get good grades in maths, did you? Because I think it's half the deficit, Dean. But... That's right. He did mention that he did go to Cedar, so all is forgiven there. No lawsuit, hopefully, from the overlords at Cedar. As Kingston City try and mount an attack. Heavy touch by Suleimani, finds a teammate. Back to Suleimani, who is the only player so far on a yellow card. Caniglia out wide here. Miscommunication between Iconis and Moore. Bennett plays in, Irwin out wide. Definitely playing a bit wider than first speculated, Chris Irwin. And he shoots, but it ends up being a comfortable grab for Pierce Clark, who, of course, we talked about the interstate flavour here tonight, Dean. Pierce Clark is another player who has moved to Victoria in recent seasons from interstate. Queenslander spent last season with Cairns FC, of course, made the round 16 of the FA Cup before being defeated by eventual finalist Sydney FC. Of course, one of the sad things to come out of that was the fact that they had to give back their license pretty much after that, because of course a team from far north Queensland would generally struggle with the economics and finances of semi-professional football and the travel and the cost to accommodate a semi-professional outfit. And Pierce Clark has found a new home in Victoria, and I think the Thunder, despite that opening 4-0 defeat, will be quite pleased to have secured a top quality keeper like him.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, the first half of last season had signed for Bentley Green, so it is not his first time down in Victoria. Unfortunately, was not getting game time due to Ryan Scott being performing so well. Then just out here on the left, it was deflected cross. Simor Janadovic wins the header, and Kanu Moore can spread the ball out wide to Alex Canigula, who will start going forwards.
Plays the ball to Etheridge. Iconis out wide here to Chris Irwin. Up against the Cavallo. Puts in the early cross. and just had a bit too much on it for Etheridge, who was arriving, but just a bit top-heavy there. Of course, Piers Clark had an initial stint in Victorian football before that with Heidelberg United in 2017 from memory, or 16, as their second choice. Got a couple of games under his name before going up to Newcastle Jets, where he was part of their youth team, and actually, if I recall correctly, was on their bench for a couple of A-League games. Let's see. Despite it being a Monday night, a healthy crowd here at the Grange say that it's definitely over 500. Generally is a good occasion whenever Monday night football is played here. As we see the ball break in here for Kieran Dover, Alon Blomgard. Chris Irwin competing against him. Blomgard still with the ball. Goes back to Cavallo, who turns in Iconis inside. Still going into the middle of the field. Does very well. Plays the ball to Skapetis, to Amash. And Thunder definitely getting a few nice touches here on the ball. But Kingston have won it back for Caniglia, who goes to Keanu Moore. Etheridge. Suleimani. Sorry, I think Iconis. That was not Etheridge. Irwin with the ball here. He's got Bennett in support. Bennett plays it back to Irwin. Searching for some space. Ball here with Damien Iconis. Good ball in. Just had a bit too much on it. Etheridge was searching for it, but he was offside anyway. And Kingston gets some nice touches on the ball there. Almost saw Etheridge end up with the ball at the top of his head, but it wasn't to be in anyhow because he was offside.
Yeah, fantastic play there by Kingston. It just shows that the attacking capability they have in that final third between, they're pretty much attacking five with Keanu Moore and Damien Iconis playing as a 10 and an 8 with Ali just sitting in behind. But Kingston always dangerous when they go forward, and Dandenong Thunder will be kept on their toes with that.
We see a free kick given by referee Pantelidis for the foul on Barnes by Sakizada. Them two, of course, former teammates at Dandenong Thunder. And of course, if you ask some at Dandenong Thunder and even at Kingston City, they will tell you that Faisal Sakizada getting injured late on in the season proved quite costly for Dandenong Thunder's promotion hopes back in 2016. It definitely was a pillar at the back for them, alongside former Socceroos Simon Colosimo, who this off-season, of course, hung up the boots to take a role with FIFA Pro up in Switzerland. So we wish Simon all the best with that. And we see Skapetis, Barnes and Dover all standing. Top the ball. I think it's Cavallo in fact. And he scores. 3 goals to the good. Dandenong Thunder, they couldn't have asked for a better start here. And Christian Cavallo, what a way to mark your 50th game in NPL Victoria football with a superb strike. And Thunder are 3 goals to the good. Can you believe it, Dean?
Oh, no, I'm shocked. Fantastic free kick by Christian Cavallo. He's hit it with whip, pace, dip, and it's just done everything to beat out of the reach of Nate Calvaleri. And to be honest, well deserved by Dandenong Thunder. I think they've had 3 shots and 3 goals all on target. So if you're Veton Konkari, you'll be loving life at the moment.
Well, 1 week it's all going wrong for you. The next week it can't go wrong for you. And that has been the opening 35 minutes for the Dandenong Thunder, who have been, quite solid at the back. They've restricted Kingston, neutralised a lot of their attacking threat. The likes of Caniglia, Iconis are still yet to get into the game. But if you're Nick Tolios here, what do you do? I mean, it's such a heavy deficit so early on. 35 minutes in, this was definitely not the way that Kingston City would have expected to have begun their first home game of the season. As we see Thunder clear up long, and it's now 1v1 between the onrushing Barnes against Timo Jovanovic. Jovanovic does very well to beat him and pass the ball down to Irwin. As we see a number of Kingston old boys here, Nick Stamashu, George Stavridis and Gino DeFeo, greeting a few of the more recent Kingston players in the commentary box as Etheridge tracks back and takes the ball out for a throw-in. See, Christian Carvalho, we have mentioned that he is playing his 50th NPL Victoria game tonight, and one player who definitely had a quiet and uneventful game last week from both an attacking and defensive standpoint has definitely made his mark on tonight's proceedings with that free kick for the opener that was deflected into the back of his own net by Etheridge, and then with that stunning free kick there to give Thunder a 3-0 lead. Let's see Cavallo on the ball, back to Mehmeti, who does play Kieran Dover. Looks a bit fresher this year, Kieran Dover. Must admit I didn't recognise him for the tats. Must have had quite a few appointments over the summer. And the ball goes in search for Chris Irwin, but I think Pierce Clark is going to gather it, but he is outside his box, and Chris Irwin has fouled him, and Clark didn't like that. He has gone in for a word with Irwin.
Look, I think it was a pretty soft free kick, to be honest, given away by Chris Irwin. And for me, Pierce Clark to react like that, he only deserves it, to be honest, because he let him put himself into that trouble.
And of course, goalkeepers were a hot topic with all the overnight European football. I wonder if either of these two keepers will create similar headlines tonight. Of course, it will take some doing, but overall, I think Cavalier hasn't really done too much wrong. I mean, you look at both the two long-range goals from Thunder. I mean, as a goalkeeper, do you think his positioning could have been a bit better?
Potentially with the free kick, he seemed to see it late, but usually you try to anticipate a little bit, especially from that distance. Second goal from distance on the half, the strike from Blomgard. Look, I don't think you can do too much about that. It went through bodies, and it's pretty much hit right in the bottom corner. With the first goal, maybe reacted a bit late, but that's come off a deflection, so can't really do much about that.
Dover with the ball here. Goes out wide. To Carpenter, back to Dover. Lost in transition there. Iconis wins it back, and he plays in Irwin. Those two have combined a few times so far tonight. But the retrieving defender, Mehmeti, plays an attack, but Simon Jovanovic did quite well there to clear the ball out for a throw-in.
Look, it's a game of two stories, isn't it? Kingston creating chances, but lacking the quality in that final third, where Dandenong Thunder have only had 3 chances and produced the quality. What do you think Nick Tolios says to his men at halftime?
Well, you know, you've got to limit the amount of opportunities that you do give to Thunder. I know that they haven't had too many, but from what they have had, they've certainly made the most of it. And if you're, Kingston, you need to be a bit more risk-averse and need to get those passes right when it comes to the final third, because a lot of their build-up work is quite good, but it just seems to break down when they reach the final third. Thunder defence has been on top of them, and you're looking at players like Etheridge, Iconis, that do have generally Caniglia quite a lot of experience to their names. It's no longer as young a team as they have been in previous seasons. So I think that a lot of these boys do have plenty of experience in Victorian top flight. They can't be overawed by this occasion. It is daunting, but you can pull a game back from this deficit. And, I'm sure there might have been a few Thunder fans that would have attended last week's first home game that after last week perhaps wouldn't have made the journey out here tonight to the Grange Reserve to watch this contest, that are watching it on the live stream quite stunned and shocked as to, what they're witnessing, considering the contrasting fortunes of, what 9 days in football does do to you, because, as I said, last week they were 6s and 7s in the first half. They couldn't string passes together. Hume City were pouncing upon all their mistakes. It's certainly role reversal this week as Bennett plays the long field pass.
Obviously conceding 3 goals in 20 minutes. Would Veton Konkari have that at the back of his mind, knowing that his side is capable of conceding quickly? Damien O'Conus breaks into the box out on the left, and it's gone out for a goal kick.
Yeah, and that is another example of Thunder's defensive resilience. They get a man in front of the ball and was safely able to shepherd it away from danger. And it's definitely been a frustrating opening 41 minutes for Kingston. And not just the attack, but also the defence. I mean, they haven't done too much wrong, but it's definitely the lack of closing down, the cheap giveaways in possession that have let Thunder into their own forward third. And that's where they've punished them. 2 set-piece opportunities. You might say that there's not a lot that Kingston could have done there, but you can't give him that opportunity. And another sloppy giveaway there from Jovanovic sees Carpenter on the ball, and he plays it to Blomgaard, who, of course, did score that second goal, to Georgopoulos in the centre of the park, who is Thunder's defensive mid, and they're going backwards here. No doubt looking to preserve this 3-0 lead going into the break and potentially catching another one on the break. But Mehmedi's made a mistake, and Irwin plays in Etheridge, but he wasn't able to pounce. And got to say that when Max Etheridge looks back at the 45 minutes, he wouldn't be too happy with himself as the ball gets played into Barnes. Now he's beaten Jovanovic, plays in the ball. Dover's waiting. Here's Kieran Dover, looking to find room, create the space. Barnes tries to cut inside. Back to Blomgaard. And here's Skapedes. Shot took a bit of a deflection and it goes safely towards Irwin, who's trying to mount an attack for Kingston City, but that's certainly not going to cut it. And we have speculated a number of times what Nick Totolios will say at the halftime break, but what will Veton Kokari's message be, as a cheap giveaway from Thunder allows in Caniglia, who goes to Iconis. Iconis, shot took a deflection into the path of Etheridge, and Clark and lately Carvalho did well to clear it. That was the opportunity for Kingston City. Ball broke through to Etheridge, probably didn't get the cleanest hit, and the Dandenong Thunder showed signs of nervousness there at the back.
Yeah, look, I think that's what we said earlier today, the quality in the final third. Kingston have been lacking that today, because that's a fantastic opportunity to bring it 3-1 and go into the halftime break with the deficit and be able to go with momentum going forward. Kingston win the ball back. Ali Simonovsky in the middle, plays it out wide to Keanu Moore. There's a bit of space in front of him, but he's decided to put his foot on it.
As we see the two itches in Kingston's defence in Jovanovic and Fetahagic combine. Suleimani plays through Sakizada, who has stayed up there. And I wonder, we saw Sakizada spend a lot of time last year in midfield, whether that might be a temptation for Nick Tolios going into the break. As we see a long-range strike from, I think that's Caniglia in the number 6 shirt. Failed to trouble Piers Clark, who, to be fair to him, the majority of the shots he has faced this half have ended up going straight into his arm. So he'd be quite happy with the way his opening 45 minutes have gone.
Just going back to what Veton would say at half-time, you'd think that he'd have to tell his 2 centre-halves just to calm down, take a breath, and regroup, and just remind them that they're capable of playing at this level. Kingston just playing out of the back now, very comfortable. Ball played out wide to Chris Irwin. Irwin decides to drive. Bennett gets around. Early delivery has gone high, wide, and out for a Piers Clark goal kick.
Yeah, and, you know, the Kingston contingent that have made it to the Grange tonight, I guess, would be quite perplexed as to the way proceedings have panned out in these opening 45 minutes. They definitely weren't expecting their side to be 3-0 down to a team that did lose 4-0 at home last week. But football's a funny game sometimes, and, you know, you're poor one week, brilliant the next, and that's been the case with Dandenong Thunder in these opening 45 minutes. As we see Kingston try and muster up an opportunity in attack, and a foul on Etheridge presents a set-piece opportunity.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be the first time Dandenong Thunder have done this. Obviously, last season conceding 9 goals to South Melbourne, then being capable to only concede 1 against Heidelberg the week after. So they obviously show capabilities of improving, but it's a fantastic performance so far by them.
And they're a funny team. They're quite unpredictable, and we saw that last year. And I guess, when you have an X factor in attack in Brandon Barnes, you never really know what to expect. As we see Caniglia with the ball here on the left-hand side, plays in Sakizada, turns, Iconis, goal! Kingston have one back, and it's Damien Iconis who's gotten it, reduces the deficit going into the break, and finally some cheer for the home crowd.
A fantastic finish by Damien Iconis from the left side of the box to be able to bend it, open up his body and put it into the top right-hand corner. Fantastic finish, and that's exactly what Kingston wanted just before the halftime break.
Well, we have mentioned how poor Kingston City have been in attack tonight. Well, that was certainly a chance that they created out of not much, really, as Lazaros Pantelidis calls for half-time here. And what a first half it's been. 4 goals, but it's the visitors that lead 3-1. A shock lead, really. Everything seemed to be going perfectly for them up until the final few seconds of that half, when Damien Iconis pulled the goal back to reduce the deficit and to leave us with quite an exciting proposition in the second half, as Kingston looked to mount a comeback, a more achievable comeback, you've got to say, given that late goal, Dean.
Yeah, fantastic finish there by Damien Iconis. It's going to bring on a mouth-watering second half. Obviously, with Kingston substitutions, Cooper Legrand, Mawad Zwed on the bench. If they both come on, we know what they're capable of. So I'm looking forward to the next 45 minutes.
And we saw late towards the first half there, Dean, that Faisal Sakazada got moved into midfield, and he was one person that was involved in the build-up there. Certainly gave Thunder a bit of trouble in attack there as he was going, turned his man. Eventually it was deflected out to Iconis, who finished expertly. But as I said, the game is well poised going into the second half now, and I guess we wouldn't have been saying that a few minutes ago given the healthy lead that Thunder did have. I know it's only 1 goal, but sometimes the psychological effect of a goal right at that break can have on a team can be quite demoralising on the one hand and quite inspiring on the other hand.
Yeah, exactly. I think that goal will give Kingston a lot of confidence, knowing that they created quite a few chances. So looking forward to the second half. Hopefully Kingston can score 1 or 2 more goals, and hopefully we have an exciting 6 or 7 goal encounter.
Yes, and we will leave you for a short halftime interval, but we'll be back for the second 45 in what promises to be a mouth-watering second half with Kingston City 1, Dandenong Thunder 3. Welcome back here to the Grange Reserve for the second half, where Dandenong Thunder hold a surprise 3-1 lead over Kingston City. My name is Damir Kulash. I'm joined here by Dean Manair. Dean, we see Kingston City make an early change with, I think it's a halftime change with Anthony Iancello coming on for Ali Suleimani, who, if memory serves me correct, was the only player in the opening 45 minutes to pick up a booking. Thoughts on the change?
Yeah, I think Nick Tolios doesn't want to force any suspensions, especially being 3-1 down, with the potential of going down to 10 men would not help their cause. So I think it's just a smart challenge, and Anthony will just definitely shore up the midfield a little bit. Looking forward to this next 45. Kingston all to play for. 3-1 down. I'm just having a bit of net problems, so looks like Paul Harvey's over there trying to fix the net.
And it'll be interesting to see how Kingston do line up for the second half, because we did see, as I said, Faisal Sakazada push up into midfield in the final 5 minutes as they searched for a goal to reduce the deficit, and they certainly did that with Damien Ikonis' strike seconds away from half-time, making a 3-1 with, of course, Max Etheridge own goal, an Alan Blomgart driving strike, and a Christian Carvalho free kick, getting Thunder on the score sheet. We did have a question coming through at the halftime break, Dean, as to where you will be playing your football this year. Obviously, Besnik Salmanov, big fan of your work, so would you enlighten not only him but also the viewers of where you will be spending 2019? I think it's as widely anticipated as Antoine Griezmann's decision.
I'll be at Beaumaris Sharks for the 2019 campaign. We've got a fantastic squad on the park, and looking forward to success. We're looking to outdo Richmond and Mornington this year and hopefully get promoted.
Shout out to everyone in the state leagues. It's going to be an interesting season, whether it's in state 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, promotion, relegation. It's football as we love it, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of fantastic storylines to come out of the 2019 State Leagues campaign as we still await for the net to get fixed up. Maybe they need to bring Costa Barbarosas down here, because it appears that we finally got it. Final inspection here from the linesman. We're just waiting on Ezekiel to give us the thumbs up, and I think that we're good to go in a matter of seconds. Keep commenting. Remember, we are live and interactive on the NPL Victoria Facebook page, as well as on the NPL Victoria YouTube channel. And Thunder get us up and away in this second half, protecting that 3-1 lead. It will be interesting to see what sort of approach they take. Will they try and pinch a few on the counter as Kingston push up, and it's a good crossfield ball there from Amash. Actually, I think we've been mispronouncing his name all night. I think it's Omar Marche. So going Lucy Zelich on myself.
Fair enough, Demir, I'll give you that. Bennett, long throw, straight to Max Etheridge, who tries to turn Mercer Mehmedi and wins a free kick. Anthony Cello on top of the ball, plays a diagonal ball, but intercepted by Kieran Dover. Blobguard plays the ball back, and Dandenong Thunder will go long. Barnes challenging. Header one by Kingston. Up in the air at the moment. Header to header.
Yeah, Blumgard has really been one of, along with Carvalho, another goal scorer, has had a fantastic evening as Barnes plays through. Dover might get lucky with the bounce. Wasn't to be the case. Thunder protests for a handball. Referee Pantelides waves it away as Chrissy Irwin beats his man, plays in. Keanu Moore in midfield. His pass is a bit behind Alex Caniglia, who takes the touch, but Amashe did really well there, and Dover plays through Brandon Barnes up against Sakizada. Barnes goes in search for Carpenter on the volley. Deflects off Bennett for a corner kick. Nice aggressive start from Thunder, who do look dangerous when they do get the ball forward, particularly with the likes of Barnes, Skapetis, Dover.
Yeah, fantastic diagonal ball by Brandon Barnes out wide. Just prove that he's very versatile. Can play not only as a number 9 but out wide. And Dandenong Thunder have started off this second half fantastically. I think they want to score another couple of goals early and kill this tie.
As I say, the corner about to be taken at the far side of the pitch. It doesn't meet its targets. Irwin clears it. And a handball there from Glumgard gives gives Kingston a free kick. And for kicking the ball away, Blumgard goes into the referee's notebook. And he'll just hold proceedings up here so he can take his name down and maybe have a bit of a word to Alon, who was a bit unfortunate there. I think he did handball the ball. How deliberate it was, I'm not too sure. I'll give the referee the benefit of the doubt, but was that kick really that intentional? Not too sure. Ball gets played through, searching for Iaconis. Headed away from Musgrave, but Iaconis deflects into the path. Oh, what a miss by Caniglia. Should have done better. Should have done better. At least hit it on target. He had a wide open goal there to aim for, but he blazed it over and into the playground.
Yeah, fantastic opportunity for Kingston to make it 3-2. Alex Canigula should have done better, especially to play with his calibre. Dandenong Thunder survived once again, and as I've said earlier today, the quality in the final third kick for Kingston have not been there.
Yeah, but one strike by Damien Iaconis at the stroke of the interval. They've been quite disappointing in attack, although given the way that Pierce Clark has performed tonight, you wouldn't have been surprised if he was pulling up miracles there if that shot was on target. As Thunder looked to mount an opportunity in attack as Barnes looks for Skapetis, but it's headed away by Sakizada. More to Caniglia, back to Fetahagic, to Moore, to Sakizada. Trying to get a few completed passes in session here for Kingston City. Ball goes into Iaconis, who's been Kingston's danger man whenever he's had the ball in the front third, to Keanu Moore. Now to Caniglia. Can he redeem himself immediately? Tries to place the ball across goal, but it's defended out for a corner kick by Thunder.
Yeah, it's good to see Kingston coming out with their intent. Early corner here for Kingston. Hopefully they can get their big boys up top. Canigula with the corner. Delivers it front post. Cleared. Bennett with time and space. We'll just put the ball right back into the mixer. Canigula is offside, so he leaves the ball. And Cavallo lets it run.
Smith, he is also another one of those that, you know, is not as recognisable as he was perhaps in previous seasons because he has trimmed his hair a bit. Caniglia, of course, another interstate player, formerly spent time earlier in this decade with the Perth Glory youth team, been in Victoria since mid-2015 when he signed for Richmond and was a key catalyst in their promotion campaign. As Iaconis goes for the lob from range, but it didn't have the direction, nor it would have probably troubled Pierce Clark in goal, even if it was on target. But back to Caniglia, of course, he spent 1.5 seasons at Richmond, got them into the top flight, wasn't able to prevent them from being relegated, but he was impressive enough to get signed by Gully, spend another 18 months there, and he was really a fantastic mid-season signing for Kingston last year that got them up to 7th as we see the ball being played through to Caniglia, but Marche, I must admit, has done quite well tonight in an unfamiliar right-back role.
Just Griffin McMaster with a saying Alex Caniglia's miss was a bigger miss than the 6 a.m. alarm. And Griff, always great to have you on board, so scenes, mate.
He definitely was making quite a number of those hot takes last night with the United-Liverpool game as well. Hopefully have him back in the commentary booth sometime in the future because it certainly is scenes whenever Griffin McMaster is in there. As we see Caniglia play the ball into the box, it escaped Etheridge, and he'll probably go out harmlessly for a Thunder throw in. No, he won't. It's Irwin's fouled his opponent there, and Thunder will be able to stop for a bit of a breather there and have a free kick.
Yeah, Thunder, I know it's still early in the second half, but just taking their time and wasting the clock. Ursa Mehmedi will take the free kick and send it long. Bennett wins the header, and it goes out for a Dandenong Thunder throw-in.
Mercer Mehmedi was one of 3 teenagers to start for Thunder in round 1 against Hume in that 4-0 defeat to Hume City. He is the only one that tonight has started. The 2 others, Mohammed Faizi and Sevdim Ismaili, have dropped to the bench, so expect to see them on the park sometime in this half. One thing that was mentioned to us by former player of both these clubs at halftime, Dean Sermon Sadakovsky, was that Brandon Barnes is, of course, 1 goal away from hitting a century for Thunder, and that would be quite an achievement given that he arrived in Australia at the beginning of 2016 after a spell in New Zealand with Waitakere United, and he certainly lit up not only NPL 2, but he certainly proved it that he has got the quality to even light up NPL 1, winning the Golden Boot last year with 21 goals in 20 games. As the ball gets played through, Skapides looking for a debut Thunder goal. It might break through for Dover here, but he's offside.
Fantastic chance there for Dandenong Thunder. Kieran Dover just slightly drifted offside. Kingston once again escape.
Didn't mention Dover, of course. He returns to the club this season. He was one of the exciting teenagers to break through in 2013 under Chris Taylor and later Stuart Munro. That included Matt Miller. Went into the Mel Victory youth team, actually made a A-League appearance for the Victory, and I believe it was late 2014 in an away game against Sydney FC, but has been in the NPL for the last few years, and he's certainly looking to have another big year. As we see Musgrave clear it long, looking for one of his attackers, but Ian Cello, the halftime substitute, finds himself with the ball, and he plays out Irwin, who's 1-on-1 v his man here. Back to Iconis. Can he do something from range? He goes for the shot! Almost from Iconis. And if you're Dandenong Thunder, you certainly don't want to give Damien Iconis a lot more of those opportunities, because he will hurt you, as we saw at the back end of the first half. Even if it's from a distance, he definitely has the capabilities to strike a ball quite well outside the box.
A fantastic strike there by Damien O'Connor, just narrowly creeping over the bar. And probably another warning sign for Dandenong Thunder. And Nick Tolios has just been given a yellow card, obviously for mouthing off to either the 4th official or Lazaros Pantelides in the middle.
Yeah, and of course the yellow cards have been introduced into the NPL for the first time this season. Of course, we have seen them over the summer in the A-League, and they proved popular enough to be brought into the NPL here. I'm not sure if the other states are copying it, but Victoria certainly is one of them. Thoughts on that, Dean?
Yeah, I think it also gives a fantastic opportunity. Nick Tolios would probably be loving it. Obviously, a few times last year was sent from the box, but at least this yellow card allows him to be given an official warning.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but he got actually sent off in the game again, between these two teams last year as the free kick goes in, and it was nervously defended away from Kingston. Still don't look quite convincing at the back, of course. They've had quite a changing back four over the course of the last few seasons. Ryan Love and Simo Jovanovic, plenty of injuries under their belt, unfortunately. Haven't seen too much of them on the park, particularly Ryan Love, who's still absent. Simo Jovanovic is hoping for more football in 2019 after injury restricted him to only 3 appearances last season. But, yeah, I believe it was Nick Tolios who did get sent off last season in the same fixture between these two teams. And look, it was only, 2016 that everyone was, in awe of the fact that Victoria was getting 4th officials. And, here we are 2 years later, which streaming and yellow cards for referees, so for coaches. So who knows what will happen in 2 years' time, but certainly a very exciting time to be involved with Victorian football, particularly in the NPL.
Sloppy turnover there by Kingston, but yeah, I agree. I believe Nick Tolios was sent off from the bench twice last season, and both times was sent to the stands. Was fourth official Daniel Isaac. Early cross in by Kingston, and it's cleared by Omar Amachi for a Kingston corner.
Yeah, Daniel Isaac, one of the more popular fourth officials out there. And look, want to give a bit of a shout out to Football Victoria for introducing fourth officials, because I think that while they are often sort of cop an earful from coaches, they are very much needed, particularly if you're trying to lift the professionalism of NPL Victoria. As we see a temporary halt in proceedings here with a Thunder player being down. Try and see who it is. Looks to be Mercer Mehmedi. So he's been forced to go off. Whether it's temporary, it looks like that they are preparing a change. And it will be probably, you'd imagine, either Jay Kushieri or Sevdim Ismaili, who can both play at the heart of defence. Kushieri played in that role last week. And I believe it's him who's come on. No, in fact, it's Sevdim Ismaili. So eyes deceiving me there as Caniglia takes the corner, misses everyone, and it almost scoops into the back of his own net there with a Thunder defender. I think it's Carpenter there. Might have even been Ismaili, the new man. Well, what an introduction that would have been had he inadvertently diverted it into his own net with his first touch. Caniglia, take two. Header, and I think it's Etheridge this time who's blazed it just wide. Probably just had a bit too much height on it and couldn't get the direction right, but a much more promising start to this second half for Max Etheridge than the first half.
A fantastic delivery once again by Alex Canigula. Max Etheridge, another chance sponded, I guess. He's had a few chances this evening. I'm sure he would want to hopefully get on the score sheet in the next couple of minutes.
As we see, Iokonis, the Kingston danger man, played a ball into Caniglia. Shoots from distance, but it's safely into the arms of Pierce Clark, who was conscious of the fact that the ball might have taken a bounce there, but it wasn't to be. He's held firm for most of this evening. It's been an excellent form for Dandenong Thunder. As Fethagic misses the header, not so much Sakizada. Cleared by Fethagic into midfield to Keanu Moore. Caniglia tries to play in Iokonis, but Blumgard did well. Cavallo in search of Brandon Barnes. Simo Jovanovic with the slides clearance. It wasn't the prettiest of clearances, but it was nonetheless important to divert the ball away from an oncoming Brandon Barnes, who would have been salivating at the opportunity to get that century. And Thunder will now prepare to take a corner.
Nate Cavallari a little bit in no man's land there, but as after that play, you saw Brandon Barnes just stretch out his calves, so he might have might have a little bit of cramp. Substitution now for Dandenong Thunder. It is Ioannis Georgopoulos coming off, and Jake Kushuri is coming on.
Yeah, Kusheri, as we mentioned earlier in the game, another Queenslander. And one of the great things, of course, with the live streaming that we do have with so many players in Victorian football coming from interstate, whether it's from Queensland, Northern New South Wales, Western South Australia, even New South Wales and Australia Capital Territory, well, pretty much anywhere in the world, really. It gives their folks back home, family and friends, an opportunity to catch the games. Certainly a few interested onlookers, both from interstate and overseas, who will have a keen eye out on the premier semi-professional Australian football competition. Thunder take the corner. Just misses the glancing head of Skapetis. Barnes up against his nemesis Jovanovic here. Kusheri, the new man, played it to Skapetis, but he lost out. Caniglia to Etheridge. Efri's searching for a teammate. He has to go back to Bennett. Bennett plays through Irwin, who's gotten plenty of touches down on the right-hand side. Chrissy Irwin, very talented footballer. Do you prefer him on the right-hand side or down the right, Dean? On the right-hand side or in the middle, as we see. We'll hold that question for a minute as we see Barnes and Sakizada in a 1v1. Barnes plays it back to Kushieri, to Marche. Back to Kushieri. Marche looking for the 1-2. It's not going to come. Kushieri lost out against two men with Iconis in Ian Cello. Sandring him, and the return ball to Ian Cello is cut out by Musgrave, who's had a pretty solid debut at the back for Thunder. Caniglia throws it back to Fethagic, to Sakizada. As we see the ball played out to Iconis, but it's been well cleared there by the Thunder defender. Ball goes in search of Barnes. Jovanovic jumped and he won the ball out to Fethagic. Ian Cello to Keanu Moore. A bit of a danger ball, but eventually Kingston have found it out wide here to Irwin. But it's well defended by Blake Carpenter, who had a bit of a quiet start to the game, but he's certainly come into his own, I think.
Dandenong Thunder clear the ball. Pettis got a bit of space ahead of him. Can drive at the Kingston defence. It's a bit of a 3v3 at the moment. Skapetis still driving, and he's been fouled by Simbo Janovic, who will receive a yellow ticket. Just back to your previous question about Chris Irwin. For me, I feel he's a little bit better as a 10. He can get on the ball a little bit more. Obviously, we know what he can do. And as a 10, he can pick it up in the middle of the park and start driving and running at defenders. So at the moment, he's doing well at the right, but in the second half, he's gone a bit quiet. In the first half, he caused a few problems. Hopefully, Kingston can get him on the ball.
Yeah, and I think it's the way that Kingston's attacks have gone down in this second half, that they've more so shifted to the left to try and isolate Caniglia with his opponent, Omar Marche. As we see, Peter Skapetis, I think he fancies this. It is Skapetis, isn't it? Him and Carvalho stand over the ball. Skapetis, long-range effort, and Cavalier had to tip it out wide for a corner kick. Was on target, had the direction, probably needed a bit more power to really trouble the goalkeeper.
Yeah, fantastic strike by Peter Skapetis there. He's about 40 to 45 yards out, and he's knuckleballed it. Short corner by Dandenong Thunder. Cavallo crosses it in the back post. Etheridge clears. Chris Irwin got time and space. Plays Bennett. Bennett to Canigula, who's switched sides for the moment. Has a bit of a gallop inside. There's a bit of space out wide. Iconis, and the ball has just been overhit. A little bit better there by Kingston, trying to play on the counter.
And of course, Thunder, for those of you that don't know, their start to the season, poor start to the season, was obviously compounded by news in pre-season that they lost several of their key players to what you'd suspect to be season-ending knee injuries. Brendan Elmazovsky, their captain, Brian Brown, a key defensive pillar. Also, Josh Bragg, the English visa. So definitely haven't had the best of luck with injuries, but if they can hold out and secure all 3 points, it will certainly make up for the poor start last week. As the ball goes searching forward for Skapetis, Sakizada chests it away, but the Thunder player there, Carpenter, didn't give up on the cause. He won the ball back to Skapetis. He's got Barnes and Dover in the box. Play the ball back into midfield to Kushieri. Sorry, it was Blumgard to Cavallo. Back to Blumgard, who goes back to Cavallo. Ball goes to Skapetis, but Kingston City have won it back through Sakizada. Overturned almost immediately as Dandenong Thunder have the ball next to the Kingston bench. As we see a fantastic break in there from Skapetis, look like. No, it was Cavallo, in fact. Ball breaks out here to Caniglia. Pass just a bit behind Iconis and allows Thunder to mop up with Ismaili, the teenager, getting a confident touch and possession there. Blumgart definitely been one of Thunder's best performers in midfield with Jovanovic now in possession.
Long ball to Max Etheridge. He's held the ball up well. He's got Keanu Moore through the middle. He spreads it out wide to Damien Iconis, who's shifted. He tucks in onto his right. The ball is won by Omar Amachi. Kieran Dover just trying to hold up, and he's beaten Damien Iconis and look to play inside. Just a shout out to Christian Saki's former Melbourne Victory midfielder joining the live stream.
Bit of Bo Morris friends there from Demon Air as Iconis gets the touch into Caniglia's path. Caniglia got the space, shoots. Clark, great save down low to divert it away for a corner kick. That's better from Kingston. Started the half strongly, but their attacks have tailed off. But Iconis combined well there with Caniglia, who of course is looking to make up for that poor miss inside the opening minutes of the half.
Yeah, fantastic opportunity for Caniglia, who put it down to the bottom right corner, but a fantastic save by Pierce Clark down low to his left. Fantastic stop. Caniglia whips it in. Cleared by Omar Amachi. Kingston retain possession. Damien Iconis out wide. We'll put it back into the mixer. Safa Sakazada, free header. Simo Janovic headers it, and Pierce Clark collects.
As we see Thunder on the ball here with Barnes. Plays in Dover, who'd be looking to get amongst the goals, but inshallah Bennett retrieved it, and he's played through Caniglia, but well won possession back there from Kushieri in Thunder's midfield. Dover combines with Barnes, has the ball back. Iancello chasing. Dover plays, returns the ball back to Barnes. Barnes to Dover. The black heel trying to find Skapetis. Didn't get its man. Bennett cleared. Came off Jovanovic and into the path of Keanu Moore. Kingston on the ascendancy here. Etheridge on the right-hand side. Doesn't look to have a lot of support there. And he's played the ball out. And we're having a Kingston change. I think it's Cooper Legrand who's about to come on. Maybe potentially for Max Etheridge. And I believe that is the case. Yeah, Etheridge's evening ends. Of course, the first start to the season for the player who returns to Kingston City after a 4-year absence. Not the happiest of nights for him, Dean, but what can you tell us about Cooper Legrand, a youngster who broke through last season, particularly in the second half of the campaign, and chipped in with a few important goals?
Yeah, Cooper Legrand, fantastic young prospect for Kingston. Obviously, throughout pre-season, he's been scoring, and obviously to the end of last season, came up with a couple of good goals, and Nick Tolios has put his faith and trusted into him. He started him last week. And he's also a Mauritian international. So, great prospect for Kingston, and hopefully he can come on and change the tie here. We all know what he's capable of, so looking forward to the youngster.
Yeah, Cooper Legrand, who has received call-ups to the Mauritian youth teams. Hopefully a senior call-up is not too far away, and if he does keep on scoring in NPL Victoria, I'm sure it won't be too far away. Of course, had a few players of Mauritian descent from Australia earn call-ups, whether it's training camps or national team appearances for Mauritius. Of course, Josh Valadon was one of them a few seasons back, formerly at Box Hill and Richmond. As we see, Clark cleared the ball away, but it hit Iconis, and luckily for him, it rolled away from goal, and it's gone out for a Dandenong Thunder throw-in here, as Iconis and Irwin applied plenty of pressure on the marker. As we see, Caniglia back to Fethagic, who goes to Moore. Fethagic to Caniglia. Back to Fethagic, the left back finds himself in unfamiliar territory. Ball across the box. And I think, was it Irwin's decision making just let him down there. Huge opportunity for Kingston, and Thunder now threatened on the counter. But Moore has the ball here. Thunder looking to Kingston looking to create another attacking opportunity. Caniglia, what can he do?
A fantastic opportunity there for Kingston. I think Chris Irwin was in two minds, either to cut it back or finish first time. I think he went for the decision to cut it back, and just the quality of the execution was missing. But fantastic play once again by Kingston, and you start to see them getting on top with Dandenong Thunder looking like they're playing a 4-4-2 and sitting back.
And we do have a question in the comment section asking, at what point do Kingston bring on Muad Zwed? Of course, Zwed, tricky customer, winger, has a lot of pace to him, also trickery, good dribbler. I'm sure he can create a lot of space, and also is an attacking threat. Dean, how long before we see him? I'll just, as Kingston prepare to take a corner here.
Yeah, look, Muad Zwed, you could always bring him on. I think Nick Tolios will give it about 8 minutes and see if he can come on the last 10 and change the game.
Corner here. It's the in-swinger. Header! And another great save by Clark. I think it's Feta Hugic this time who's denied. One Queenslander to another one, and Pierce Clark is definitely keeping Kingston at bay here as another corner is drilled in. Sakizada this time. This header ends up hitting the post, but I think, Clark was fouled. Referee Pantelides gives it, and I think Pierce Clark is definitely making a name for himself tonight. I mean, we have seen a bit of him in Victorian football. Short doses, nothing substantial, but from all accounts, he's a quality keeper. How have you assessed his performance tonight, Dean?
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. The saves that he's needed to make, he's made. And then, obviously, that save and the save earlier with Alex Canigula's shot just proves the quality that he's worth. And, obviously, to Dandenong Thunder is well worth the money.
Yeah, Thunder, of course, had a change in goalkeeper in the off-season. Fraser McLaren, who was there for 3 seasons, departed for the ambitious project in NPL 2 with Lang Warren and Scotty Miller. And Pierce Clark, they've recruited from interstate, and he certainly is proving to be a capable replacement so far, as his long goal kick searches for Barnes, but Jovanovic is going to win that header. As we see the ball hover in the middle of the park here as Kingston get a free kick. Iokonis places it down to Iancello. Goes out wide to Fethagic, who'll look to Caniglia. Caniglia up against Amache. Goes inside. Looks for Legrand. Now to Iokonis. Fethagic back to Iokonis. Great space created to Aniglia. Iokonis took a deflection, corner kick to Kingston. And we said it earlier this half, Damien Iokonis is not the Kingston player you want to give the ball away to, because he's definitely a guy that if you give him time, if you give him space, particularly from range, he can hurt you. And if you're Thunder, you can't be relying on Pierce Clark to pull off blinders all night. As we see another Kingston corner incoming. It's going to be Caniglia again. Corner kick. Sakizada rises. Flicked over from Irwin. Save, double save by Pierce Clark. Fantastic effort once more by the Thunder shot stopper. As Thunder look to empty their bench, and it's going to be Luke Gallo, who is about to make his 50th NPL appearance when he enters the fray, replacing Kieran Dover.
Fantastic reaction save by Pierce Clark off Chris Irwin's attempt, and then the follow-up was unreal to come out and punch the ball clear. Kingston would be spewing. They couldn't buy a goal at the moment, but the pressure's on, and Dandenong Thunder really haven't helped themselves by sitting back. Luke Gallo comes on, and a fantastic young attacker block first. Skapetis with the ball now in the corner. Early cross in, Nate Calaverli takes.
Of course, Luke Gallo, 2017 NPL Rising Star, as Cavaliers' long goal kick, kick searches for Legrand, but Thunder managed to clear the ball away. Was mentioning with Gallo being the rising star, I think if you ask Nick Tolios, he wasn't too happy with that decision because he thought that his man, Damien Iconis, should have won the award. Of course, Iconis ended up hitting 12 goals in 26 games that season for Kingston City to consolidate their place in the NPL. Definitely hard luck there, but he was, one of 3 talented young players that season. I thought Marafiotti from Oakley, who's now at South Melbourne, was another one. As Kingston empty out that bench, and it's going to be an attacking change with Feta Hugic, the left back, coming off for Muad Zwed, the winger.
Yeah, Muad Zwed coming on for Fetagic. And it looks like Kingston will go with Chalo. No, they're going to 3 at the back. So an attacking-minded change for Kingston. Obviously trying to score 2 goals and get something out of this game. Iconis obviously was missed out on a Rising Star Award. Was also with the shouts of him by Taylor Palazzeri to get Josip Gombel to call him to the under-21 squad.
I think it was the Ollie Roos back then, but certainly one of the premier young talents of NPL Victoria as Caniglia cross-took a deflection, and it almost found its way into the back of the net. I think Clark did well to get a hand on it, but it wasn't the most convincing of saves as Legrand almost got a clear header onto it. And Kingston looking more and more threatening. If you're Veton Korkari, you're going to be a bit concerned that with the amount of opportunities that Dandenong Thunder are conceding, surely Kingston are going to make them pay.
Yeah, that cross took an early deflection as it was whipped in by Canigula. And then Cooper Legrand made a fantastic forward run to put Pierce Clark off, which then it just bobbled away. Free kick here for Dandenong Thunder. Will relieve the pressure a little bit, and it looks like they'll take the time and soak it up.
Yeah, 78 minutes gone. Got another 11 and a half to go, plus stoppage time. So you think about 15 all up. If they can just get 1 goal in the next 10 or so minutes, we're in for a grandstand finale here at the Grange Reserve. And that free kick will amount to nothing because Cuscieri and Gallo weren't on the same wavelength. As we see, Sakizada with a throw. Cuscieri wins the header back, but Ian Cello intercepts. Ball out here to Caniglia. Ismaili back to his goalkeeper, Clark. Thunder looking more and more nervy at the back, but Clark still manages to get it away. Jovanovic's header, not the most convincing as Carpenter and Bennett go into a duel. No free kick. Iancello with the ball now. He's got Caniglia out wide. Links up with Iconis, who beats Amache. Gallo tracking him. Iconis gets the better of him, plays in Iancello. But that is a poor shot from Iancello. And as you might tell with the pronunciations, we've definitely got a large Australian-Italian flavour in tonight's clash. Of course, Iancello, Iconis, Gallo. If you're Nick Tolios, you've obviously emptied out your bench early. Do you see any sort of tactical adjustments he can make? Obviously, he's gone to the 3 at the back now. Is there anything else he can do? Maybe even put Sakizada further forward? Or do you think that, you risk then losing a heavy presence at the back and also potentially leave yourself quite exposed at the back?
Yeah, at the end of the day, it comes to see what Kingston have deserved. They've pushed, I think naturally players at this stage of the game will start pushing on forward. Obviously, you've got Chris Owen playing as a right wing back, it looks like. So I think Chrissy and Sakazada will push on high and try to get numbers in the box. But you can see Dandenong Thunder have pretty much got 10 players in behind the ball and will make it very difficult for Kingston to break them down.
As we see a free kick given away there, and Thunder would again be relieved to soak up the pressure and get a bit of a breather here. as we hit past 81 minutes here. As I said, if Kingston can get a goal here before the 90, maybe even in the first few minutes of the 90, we're in for a grandstand finale. So shouldn't give up hope, particularly with the way that Thunder have defended at times in the second half. But here they'll go in search for a fourth. Gallo. Can he link up with Barnes? Plays in Barnes, might be offside and is. Back flicks the ball away and he'll go into the referee's notebook there.
Unnecessary yellow card there by Brandon Barnes, but he knows what he was doing. Just running down the clock. And it'll look like Kingston will send it long with Nate Cavalieri. Gallo. Keanu Moore brings it down. Keanu Moore plays Chris Irwin.
Irwin tries to find a teammate, Zwed, but wasn't to be the case. And another cheap giveaway from Kingston here. They really haven't helped themselves, tonight. A lot of poor giveaways in possession, poor fouls that have resulted in dangerous set-piece opportunities that have been punished by Thunder and also have been poor in front of goal. I know Clark's had a blinder, as we see Skapedes with a shot from range that fails to trouble Cavalier, whose long goal kick searches for Iconis. But Musgrave has actually conceded the foul. Played quickly by Kingston. Caniglia searching for Zwed here. Zwed plays Iancello. Legrand to Zwed. Low cross behind Iconis and safely cleared away.
Once again there by Kingston, the quality in that final third has been lacking. And if you're Nick Tolios, I think before you head into next week's fixture, you would want to be on the training park, just giving your players the expression and the creativity for the final third, and hopefully they can work on it, because for me tonight that's been their case and the reason they have not created certain goal-scoring opportunities.
Yeah, it's really been their downfall tonight, and you expected so much better from Kingston, who are usually better at home. Particularly last season, they had a Monday night home opener against Hume City. Were quite prolific that night with a 4-2 win. It hasn't been the same tonight. That sole Iconis strike, you'd expect it to be a taste of things to come in the second half, but it hasn't been the case. And you've got to credit Thunder because they've been quite resolute. I mean, they lost Mercer Mehmeti halfway through this half, and Ismaili hasn't been too bad in the centre of defence himself. You expected a young kid, teenager, coming into the heat of the battle, but he certainly stood tall, and he's been helped there by Jack Musgrave, who was a late off-season signing from Parramatta FC in the New South Wales NPL. So he's had a great starting debut for Thunder, and he'll certainly endear himself to the Thunder supporters with more performances like that.
Nick Tolios is having words with the fourth official. Got to be very careful already on a yellow card. Shout out to Billy Natsioulis. Thank you for joining the live stream. And I know I can't spell creativity either, mate.
That's what you get with a Seder education. Sorry, I'm being a bit too cruel there. But let's focus back on the football there with Chris Irwin, who's moved out here to the left to Sakizada, back to Irwin. He's got Legrand. He's created enough space for himself now. Legrand plays the ball through, but it's well defended away from Ismaili. And Thunder clear away Barnes Jovanovic, and the referee has found a free kick in there. I think there was one, as slight as it was. A bit of a pullback on Georgopoulos, I believe, there. Crowd estimation tonight, probably close to, I'd say, around 800. As we see Gallo and Sakizada compete for the ball. Sakizada did well to marshal him outside and get the throw in. But if you're Kingston, it's at the wrong end of the pitch. You've got to get the ball up forward because time is running out. 86.5 minutes gone. They need to get one quickly if they want to get anything out of this game. But the ball's with Funda. Skapetis, another shot, but took a bit of a nick as he shot it, and it just reduced the power of it. Went straight into the arms of Cavalier, but now Zwed and Irvin combined. Bit of pace to this Kingston attack. Goes in searching, but it's well cleared by Musgrave.
Yeah, fantastic counter-attacking football. Great combination by Chris Irwin and Moad Zwed out here on the left. Just the quality on that final delivery was lacking. Opportunity here for Kingston to get big boys up top and threaten to score.
Going to be Kniglia with the corner again. What can he do this time? Ball gets delivered in. Clark got a hand to it. Diverted it away. Long clearance. Barnes has beaten the offside trap. But Cavalier did really well to get out first. Beat him to the ball. And find a teammate. Ian Shallow now. Goes in search for Zwed. I think it's Iconis actually, but he's conceded the foul.
Yeah, fantastic sweeper curving there by Nate Calvaleri. Quick off his line and was made sure he's strong and was not put off by Brandon Barnes.
Now, as we approach towards the 88th minute, it'll be interesting to see how much stoppage time the four official adds. Can't see it being more than 3, at best 4 minutes. It hasn't been too many stoppages. We've had a few substitutions over the course of the half, but I think we'll see 3, maybe 4. As we see the ball skip out. And Simo Jovanovic retrieves it. Goes to Zwed in the number 10 shirt here. Can he create light a fuse here for Kingston City? Goes in search for Iconis, but the ball is again well defended by Funda. Carpenter clears, but Ian Cello ends up with the ball. In fact, it's Bennett. Carpenter again looks at Barnes. I think he might have been offside. That's why he pulled his run as the ball ends up safely into the arms of Cavalier. Cavalier goes to Bennett. Caniglia and Irwin have switched sides in case you haven't noticed here. Caniglia now on the right, Irwin on the left. Will that create a change of fortune for Kingston City?
Yeah, you can see Veto and Kokari just very agitated on the edge of his technical area, making sure his defence gets in. Knigs just slices that ball straight into Pierce Clark's hands, who will run down his 6 seconds before he rolls it out and sends it long.
Well, a half that promised so much for Kingston City ultimately hasn't delivered a hell of a lot. So many missed opportunities, a number of fantastic saves from Pierce Clark, who would probably have to go down not only as a standout goalkeeper of the weekend, but also most likely the standout player of the week. He's just been in fantastic form for Funda. The 3 points can genuinely be attributed to him, as well as the defence. They've stood firm on a number of occasions. 4 minutes is what the fourth official has added on. As we see, a ball gets played through. Bit of a nothing foul in there, I think it's Iconis, the man who's been adjudged to have made the foul. Did lift up his foot slightly, but the defender did have his head lowered. Bit of a tough one, but I guess, you know, one thing you can say, don't know too much. You need to see probably that replay of that early incident with Iconis getting dragged back, but overall I think referee Lazaros Pantelidis and his assistants have had a solid night on the park. As we see Funda with the ball here, Gallo looking to potentially pick up Barnes, couldn't find him. Ball goes in, Skapetis fell down, Cavalier makes a good save, advantage was called, Gallo, no foul, ball's being cleared, Funda screaming for a penalty. Probably won't make much of a difference in the grand scheme of things if they can hold on, but would have been nice to get a fourth. Offside call, no. Looking for Barnes at the back post. It will probably go out, no. Barnes has kept it in. Sakizada pressuring in here as Barnes looks to time waste. And the ball ends up being a Kingston ball. Zwed, it's not going to take it. It's going to go into the arms of Chris Irwin. It's now or never for Kingston. They really need to get one back in the next minute or so. If there's to stand any chance of getting a quick third, as we see Thunder play on the ground, much to the frustration of Cooper Legrand and his teammates.
Yeah, fantastic save by Nate Calvilleri just in that third. Quick off his line, made himself big, and a great smother. Kingston, very lucky to get away with one. Dandenong Thunder probably spewing that they didn't get a fourth and potentially kill off this tie. Omar Amachi just down now with a bit of a cramp and wasting as many minutes as they can now.
I must say, although Omar Amache has, given Alex Caniglia particularly plenty of space to attack him in this second half, I think he's done quite well in an unfamiliar right back role for him. Of course, we're more accustomed to seeing him as a wide forward winger with a lot of pace on him, who wasn't known for his defensive attributes. Well, Veton Kochari has done quite well to have improved that aspect of his game. As we see, Kingston certainly frustrated here with Amache looking to cramp up. Remember, Thunder don't have any more subs to make. You can imagine that referee Lazaros Pantelidis will probably add an additional minute to the forward that have been added on to take into account that minute or so that's been lost through this stoppage. I think Kingston did have the ball through Legrand, so Iconis is going to look for a teammate instead of playing the ball back to Thunder, which is the right decision. As we see Zwed on the ball here. Skips away from his man, opens himself up, and almost, but Carpenter got a vital interception there away from Caniglia, who was at the back post and waiting for his opportunity there to redeem himself and get a goal back.
Fantastic footwork by Keanu Moore at the start, and then to place Wed, who did some great tricks to get past in an early cross.
As we see, long shot, not quite from Ian Shallow. Just had a bit too much spin on it at the end as it curls out wide for a goal kick, and that, you'd imagine, is that Dandenong Thunder, all credit to him, have responded back from that 4-0 drum hammering at home to Hume City last week in spectacular fashion. 3 first half goals has done the job for them. You can't see Kingston snatching anything other than a consolation goal this late in the game.
Yeah, fantastic performance by Dandenong Thunder. And as we speak, Lazaros Pantelidis has called full-time on a superb match. Dandenong Thunder 3, Kingston 1. And Demille, what were your final thoughts on the game?
Look, overall, both teams, I thought, didn't have the best of nights. But overall, I thought Kingston were quite sloppy in that first half, and the Thunder made them pay. They, had a few set-piece opportunities, and they pounced. They made the most of them. Christian Cavallo's free kicks proved to be dangerous in those 2 instances. The first one, of course, a bit unfortunate for Kingston City with it ricocheting off Max Etheridge and into the back of the net. But overall, you can't have too many complaints if you're Kingston City. It just wasn't to be their night. Piers Clark had an outstanding night in between the 6 for them, and he was the difference between the 2 teams, as was the more prolific finishing from Dandenong Thunder. Yeah,
Dandenong had a fantastic tonight. Took all chances they were given to them. Just some stats. Kingston had 21 shots in total and 13 on target. So fantastic stats by Dandenong Thunder, not to concede. Piers Clark had a fantastic game, and Kingston were just very unlucky. Just want to say a final goodbye. Thank you for joining us on YouTube and the FV NPL Victoria live stream. Great company tonight, lads, and hopefully see you guys next week.
Thanks for joining us, guys. Final word here from the Grange Reserve. Thunder, fantastic in victory, made the most of their opportunities, had an inspired goalkeeper in between the sticks. Kingston a bit sloppy. I'd say man of the match award goes to Piers Clark, who had a sensational night in between the six, as we've said. But finally, thank you for joining us. To all the viewers across both our platforms, whether it's Facebook or YouTube, keep at it. More NPL football coming to you in the following week as we set away for round 3 of both NPL Victoria and NPL 2, as well as the second round of the National Premier League, Women's National Premier League. And on behalf of myself and Dean Munir, good night.